From JD News, live from Draper, Utah.
Tuesday, March 17th, 2020.
This is Good Morning Juan Diego.
Good morning, JD. It's an A day today. This is Mr. B. I'm here with Dr. Colosimo and our special guest today, Mrs. Redican. First of all, thank you for all the feedback on the comments on our little video adventure. We appreciate it. It's actually been really constructive. I want to give a special shout out to Mr. McGavin, who gave me some very specific feedback. He said I should smile more. Well, I think I am smiling. I'm smiling on the inside. So, Mr. McGavin, this smile is for you, and I promise that I will do my best to smile more. So,
you did that well, like without smiling.
Did I do that well? I am smiling.
Well, it's a surprise to us. Oh. You're smiling. Now you're smiling. That's the way to do it.
With that, let's go and begin our day in prayer with Mrs. Redican, who's going to lead us in prayer.
Thank you, Dave. I chose this prayer today because Pope Benedict had some words for everybody during this time of stress and anxiety and worry. So this is the prayer I'd like to go with today. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear friends, may no adversity paralyze you. Be afraid neither of the world nor the future, nor of your weakness. The Lord has allowed you to live in this moment of history so that, by your faith, His name will continue to resound throughout the world. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
That was very nice. Thank you, Mrs. Redican. I have a surprise for you. Students, somewhere in this video, before it ends, there's going to be a news flash, a special opportunity for you to have a gift card received from Mr. Tax. So you might want to pay attention to the whole video because we have a surprise for you somewhere embedded in this video. With that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Colosimo.
Okay, so we're starting a new idea with our morning newscast. We're going to have a word of the day. We did this, I think, yesterday, didn't we? Have a word. The word of the day yesterday was relax.
Relax.
So the word of the day today is the word breathe. And what do we mean by that? Like breathe? Like, don't we always breathe? I mean, are we talking about like breath, or are we talking about like bad breath, or are we talking about like what are we exactly, like what does it mean to say breathe? Like we always breathe, but like are we breathing in the right way?
No, don't you think maybe we're all, with all the changes and stuff, we're so like there's this added tension or something, and it's just kind of like, breathe, just like...
Okay, so let's do it. Like right now, let's breathe. And what I'm going to say is this. Let's breathe like 4 counts in through our nose. Let's hold it for 2 counts. And then let's exhale 3 counts through our mouth. Okay, so 4 in, hold it for 2. Well, exhale for like, what did I say, 3?
3.
So we're going to go 4, 2, 3.
All right.
Okay, so how does that sound? So on the count of 3, let's breathe in through our nose for a 4 count. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, breathe. Hold it. And exhale.
You almost had me holding it too long.
See, I think it's really like 4, 2, 5. I think the exhale needs to be longer and the holding it shorter. So it's probably like 4, 2, 5. So we'll leave it at that, and maybe we'll work on it a little bit more. But I think the point was we all breathe. It's times like this that we have shortness of breath. We really actually don't breathe deeply like from our stomach. Like we should be breathing very deeply, because what it does is it relaxes you, it calms you, it clears your head, and it makes you realize that this whole thing will pass.
Exactly. So here's the challenge.
Yes.
Why don't you try and do that at noon today? Just think of it. At noon today, if you remember it, stop.
Take a breath.
And take a breath. Just breathe. It's going to be all right.
Hey, you know what? We ought to introduce the new segment that we have on our morning show.
It's exciting.
It is.
I'm smiling.
I know, but you're supposed to introduce it.
Oh,
Come on.
the new segment. So, there's lots of different ways to look at what's going on here. And we are so very lucky at Juan Diego that we have the wisdom and the guidance of Mrs. Redican. Many of you have her for your counselor. You probably all know her. So we're starting this new segment called Counselor's Corner, which will be a little bit of advice and guidance from the perspective of the counselors on all that's going on in your world today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Redican.
Let's go to the corner.
Okay.
So, Ms. Redican, thanks a lot for being willing to participate. What are we calling this segment again? The Counselor's Corner.
Counselor's Corner.
So this will be like a semi-regular pattern as long as we are out of school, where you'll be on helping students with some of the mental, emotional issues that might arise as a result of kind of this crisis that we're in. And so I wanted to start by asking you, like, what does it mean when we say Juan Diego community? Juan Diego is a strong community of faith, and how could community really help us get through this critical period in time?
Yeah, well, during this difficult time, one of the most important things you still need to have is that connectedness to your community. And the beauty of Juan Diego is that we have that connectedness. So kids are sort of struggling with the fact that we're having to separate as a community, but there's so many different ways we can still connect. We just have to do it differently and find ways to still connect. And one of the ways we're doing it right now is helpful to the students to know that we're all still here to support each other, but we just have to find different alternatives to make that connection happen with each other.
I think that's really true, and what I'm concerned about is like the level of anxiety and worry that any student might have. It's just such an unusual time, and how can students help deal with like their just personal anxiety regarding this whole issue?
Well, I think anxiety and worry are some of the biggest factors that students have to deal with, and it can be really difficult. And it's really important for them to understand that all feelings are okay right now, and the things that they're facing and dealing with can be extremely difficult. As we get more information, some of that anxiety and worry is actually a healthy thing because it heightens your awareness. So it pushes you towards being more cognizant of your surroundings and people you're around. So it can be a benefit to have a little bit of anxiety, but if you're having too much anxiety or worry, then you have to consider, how you can get help or help yourself to get through some of this. It's a lot of information, a lot to take in. It can be extremely overwhelming. And I think one of the things that we have to understand is everybody has different feelings and how they deal with them. So the most important thing you can do is be patient with one another and be there for one another and understand that everybody is handling this differently, and some are way up here with their anxiety, some are able to handle it in a different way, and some are feeling like they're okay, they're going to get through it okay, but maybe those are the people that need to understand and help some of those people that are really having that heightened anxiety. But a little bit is okay.
Yeah. So along with that same theme then, like we're bombarded by news and information, and some of it's accurate, and some of the stuff that you see on the internet is just, absolute falsehood. And so how should students and really everybody deal with the mountain of information about this crisis that's coming our way?
Well, we're getting it so, such an immediate way with our phones and computers, and I think it's overwhelming for the students. They're popping up information almost constantly and thinking this is true or that's true or this is going to happen and that's going to happen, and it's just too much. If you really want to have accurate information, go to the Salt Lake County Health Department to find updated, accurate health information, or the CDC if you want true information. If it's causing you too much stress to do that, then maybe you take a break from news or news feeds that come into your phone.
So you don't always have to be on the phone looking for information.
Sometimes it's good to take a break from that. It's not always healthy to get every updated piece of information. You'll get it eventually. So just maybe take a break if you can't handle it.
Well, so what about resources for students? Like if they're feeling overwhelmed, if they're stressed, if they're experiencing a high level of anxiety, what help is out there for them?
Well, of course, you can always contact your counselors via email or
school
phone.
counselors.
Yes, school counselors anytime you want. We'll always be available, and we'll try to do things remotely as we can.
So a student can email or call any of the counselors,
Yes.
and they'll get a response.
As soon as we can get to, we'll get to you, which should be pretty immediate. The other beautiful resource we have is our Safe UT app, and they have mental health, master's level mental health therapists available 24/7. So if a student wanted to contact somebody anonymously or even not anonymously, they can contact them 24 hours a day. If they're really worried in the middle of the night and they want to talk to somebody, they are available. And then they link it back to us if we have students that we're concerned about that we can follow up with as well. So it is a wonderful resource for our students.
Well, thank you, Ms. Redican. You did a great job on our first edition of the Counselor's
welcome.
Corner, and I look forward to having even more information from.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That was awesome. I love our first segment of the Counselor's Corner. What do you think about it?
You know, I did think she had a lot of wise things to say about just our whole attitude about this crisis and the mental health needs that we all have. And I think it's really, really important that we understand that we have to take care of ourselves and we have to take care of one another while we deal with this issue.
It's very, very true. Very, very true. So we promised you a special challenge. So heads up, here it is. You might think this is a little bit crazy, but that's all right. So before 5 o'clock tomorrow is Wednesday, before 5 o'clock tomorrow, if you post
Wait, is that before 5 o'clock on Wednesday?
That's before 5 o'clock on Wednesday. If you post a picture of yourself on Twitter or Instagram in your home study space, so wherever you've created in your house that you're studying, if you post a picture of yourself, and here's the kicker, in formal uniform.
No way.
If you
Really?
post a picture of
That's a good
yourself
idea.
at your home space in your formal uniform on Twitter or Instagram, you will receive an electronic gift card from Mr. Tag. Hashtag JD Online has to be some part of the photo. Tomorrow,
Formal dress.
Formal dress tomorrow
So
before
cool.
5 o'clock. Let's get on it, JD. So remember, take some time to breathe today. Take a little bit of time out of your day just to relax.
Remember what Miss Redican said.
Remember the guidance that Miss Redican said. And remember, we're all in this together. We don't have it all figured out. And I want to just say something. I think you've mentioned it to me today. We missed you not being here today. It was weird not being together with you in school today. So know that we miss you. And we'll be all together again physically soon. But in the meantime, we're here together through this medium. So
That was well said. You did good.
thank you. I appreciate that. Good. All right. Over and out.